What up, it's Dane. In this video I'm going to be telling you if you've been lied to, so watch the whole video in order to find out if you've been lied to. Let me reveal this right now. Okay, so what actually is metabolic damage? Most people, or especially females, are referred to as like they're maintaining very low calories, excessive cardio, and they're still not losing weight, or even they're actually gaining more weight by doing low calories and more cardio, right? So let me tell you exactly why. Okay, so first of all, we need to understand that very low calories and excessive cardio causes two things: water retention and metabolic adaptations to take place. So cortisol actually has a cross reactivity or even links in with aldosterone, and aldosterone is the primary factor or the primary hormone even for retaining water, meaning cortisol increases water retention. So what is cortisol? Cortisol is a stress hormone, right? And there are three things that increase it: is dieting, cardio increases it, and of course you can guess it, mental stress does increase cortisol. Now the solution in order to get rid of this water retention is just to chill the fuck out. And by the way, there are many different ways you can do this. Number one, you could smoke weed. Number two, you can go out and partying. And number three, you can binge eat. No, I'm joking, just don't do that. So for the most part, man, when it comes to fat loss, most of it is just masked by this cortisol increasing and a water retention, right? So water retention is actually masking fat loss whether you know it or not. So let's think about a female diet, right? First of all, they're stressing out a lot about their weight, blah blah blah, getting ready for summer or whatever. They want a good body, so that's number one, mental stress, right? Then they're doing excessive cardio, then they're dieting very hard as well, right? So all these combined increases water retention, let alone their menstrual cycle. That's like their weight can literally shift from like 10 pounds one day to losing 5 pounds another day. And guess what? That 5 pound loss is not just created in one day in one deficit, right? It just doesn't make sense like that. So definitely keep all this in mind. So what should you do? First of all, I recommend you take refeed days, or even cheat days. So what you need to do is raise the calories over a couple of days and really start increasing the carbohydrates in particular, because that will raise insulin levels, and when the insulin levels goes up, the cortisol levels also drop, so which means less water retention. And when that means you see the big whoosh effect, next day you step on that scale, guess what happens? You drop like 2 to 3 pounds or even 5 pounds maybe in some cases, right? So it's so important, man. These refeeds, these cheat days, I say it all the time, you need to have them structured in your diet, same as a diet break, because let's face it, man, fat loss is never linear. Okay, with all this said, it doesn't necessarily mean there is no metabolic adaptations or metabolic effects taking place. There definitely is. So leptin, if you didn't know what it is, it basically sends a signal to your brain and elsewhere in the body about the energy stores and how much you're eating, right? And now when your leptin levels dropped, it typically people will say, oh, you've got metabolic damage or some stuff like this, or even starvation mode, right? When actually the leptin is just controlling your body, like almost a controlled starvation, right? Basically, it wants to prevent your body from starving to death. That's basically its main role. So when your leptin levels drop, a lot of things go wrong, right? So first of all, your BMI, your basal metabolic rate, it slows down. Your hunger increases, your thyroid goes down, and also your testosterone drops as well. So a whole lot of shit goes down when your leptin level goes down as well. So cortisol actually induces leptin resistance. Now, let me use another example. For example, say in skeletal muscle, it becomes insulin resistant, which means it doesn't respond properly to insulin as it should. Now, leptin resistance basically means the leptin that's surrounding the body or that's in the body is not being used effectively, which therefore means the appropriate signals are not being sent to the brain. Basically, leptin just prevents us starving to death. That's all it really does. That's its main role. Simple, quick, and yeah. So the total determinants of your total metabolic rate are your BMI, your basal metabolic rate, which basically is just all the basal processes taking place in your body. Number two is T, so not as in the tea you're drinking, like a thermic effect of exercise, and that basically says it all. Then we have TEF, thermic effect of food, the food you eat, the digestion. That's just like a quick estimate of about, say, 10, maybe 50% if you eat protein. And then last one, NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So this is basically the subconscious movement, and yes, you cannot control it, hence why it's subconscious. So most athletes, they'll just do excessive cardio in order to kind of get rid of this subconscious NEAT stuff. And most people, which I actually recommend people do, is just have a step tracker, see how many steps you're doing per day. That's a good method. You're welcome. Okay, so let's talk about the three things. Let's talk about T, so thermic effect of exercise, TEF, thermic effect of food, And the last one, NEAT, in more detail. So thermic effect of food: when you're dieting, you're obviously going to consume less food, meaning less calories are actually burned from the thermic effect of food, and this just makes sense, right, doesn't it? So that's TEF. Now NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, this mainly decreases. Of course, this is subconscious. However, especially when individuals get leaner and leaner, they will become way more lethargic and move a lot less more. You'll probably see some bodybuilders not even want to get out of their car to go to the shop and just stop right in front of the shop, right? So those are those two. Now the last one is thermic effect of exercise, so T, and this says it all, because the more weight you're dropping, right, the smaller the body, the fewer the calories are burned, right? It's that simple. So is the drop in metabolic rate sufficient to stop weight loss? Let's see. So one of the most common adaptations when it comes to dieting and cutting is increasing hunger allowance. We all know this. So what happens when people get hungry? They follow the deficit, they eat the right amount of calories per day. However, when they just get that slight loss of motivation or whatever, they go on a massive binge, right? They eat the foods that were restricted from their diet, all of this, and most importantly, it actually will offset, in most cases, offset the deficit throughout the whole week, right? So say they diet from Monday to Saturday, on Sunday they go for a 20,000 calorie challenge or whatever, it will offset that whole week's deficit. So can it drop a metabolic rate and all the adaptations that actually occur completely eliminate fat loss? No. Okay, so let's talk about the Minnesota semi-starvation study, right? And this is semi, this is not full starvation. So basically there were men that were put on 50% of their maintenance calories, which, let's face it, that's some big deficit. Their lives were basically controlled for 6 months, no resistance training, no weight training, just pure walking. And then after that they found about almost 40% of basal metabolic rate or metabolic rate decreased. So from that 40%, 25% of that was from a reduction in body weight. And like I said at the start of the video, remember, smaller body burns fewer calories. Now remember, there's 15% left, and of that 15%, metabolic adaptations occurred. So it's 25% body weight, 50% adaptation. So even though their fat loss had basically stopped, right, as well as their weight also stopped at some points, but this only happened when they reached ultimate leanness, right? I'm talking 4 to 5% body fat, which is basically the leanest an individual can probably get without even dying. Okay, yeah, some bodybuilders report they get to 2 to 3% body fat, but let me tell you, that's completely inaccurate. So the ultimate question, is the drop in metabolic rate and all these adaptations that occur sufficient enough to stop fat loss completely? The answer is definitely not. Just to clarify, this only happens when you get to ultimate leanness, which maybe 2% of the population do. Okay, so let's understand what's happening here. First of all, they're definitely misreporting their food intake, especially with all the binges that's going on, and we know this occurs in so many individuals that they never even report it. Secondly is water retention. Remember, the weight loss or even the fat loss is masked by this water retention. This happens again because, especially in females, sometimes that they go crazy or work, whatever, even as males or anything, just other stresses in life, they can have more water, let alone the excessive cardio they're doing and excessive calorie deficit they are creating because they're not seeing linear fat loss, even though, like I said in the video, fat loss is never ever linear, never is. So anyway, that's basically the main factors that happen when people are claiming, oh, I've got metabolic damage or stuff like this, right? It doesn't occur. There's been like 50 years of research, or like so many articles written about this, research reviews, and none of them has ever shown the fat loss stops completely when you create this calorie deficit, right? So especially for those individuals that are telling you eat more food or something to lose fat, they've got, in one, obviously, on one sense, they have got like a very good idea, because like I said, when you increase the carbohydrates, stuff like this, you actually lose a lot of water weight because you're decreasing your cortisol levels. So that's enough for me talking right here. I hope you received a ton of information in this video. If you did, subscribe down below, comment, leave a like. More importantly, check out this Get Big video series. It's dropped, it's dropped, it's dropped. Stay positive, stay smiling, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.